All right, guys, so today we're going to be moving on to 6.4, which is linear systems word problems. Again, as I said in the description, it's one thing to be able to use, for example, the Desmos graphing calculator and all these other algebraic tools to be able to solve problems. But the real issue is when you're given a word problem, can you take that word problem and convert it into a system that you can then put into some of those tools to help you to solve them? So today I'm going to walk through two examples. You only have 10 questions, so you're going to get two of them automatically if you pay attention to this video, and then you can try to work out those other 8. I'm going to go ahead and tell you this is going to be a little bit challenging, but that's okay. We need a little bit of a challenge, okay? So let's look at number 1 here. I'm going to do one from each section. There's actually 3 sections to this form. Of course, your name, and then the second section asks you to use the substitution method. It doesn't matter to me. You could use whatever method you really want, but they're kind of separated into substitution method and then elimination method. So I'm going to take one from each section and take a look at it. So we'll look at number 1 here first. It says Mike and Jasmine have a combined age of 30. Mike is 3 years younger than twice Jasmine's age. How old is Mike? Okay, I want to read that one more time. It says Mike and Jasmine have a combined age of 30. Mike is 3 years younger than twice Jasmine's age. How old is Mike? So we're looking for how old Mike is, and it gives us some pieces of information, okay? So I'm going to kind of bounce back and forth between the document camera and this just to kind of give you an idea of what we can do to try to set this up, and then how we can also solve it as well. So let's take this first sentence right here and let's try to dissect it and figure out what's really going on. And so it says Mike and Jasmine have a combined age of 30. Now, we don't know how old Mike is. We don't know how old Jasmine is. As a matter of fact, the question really we're being asked is how old is Mike? So we don't know how old they are. So we got to think about when we don't know something, we got to think about that as a variable. Okay, we don't know what they are, and Mike and Jasmine's are obviously 2 different people, so we've got 2 different variables. As soon as you see 2 different variables, you've got to think, hey, this is probably a system. And so Mike and Jasmine would be 2 separate variables, but notice what it says. Mike and Jasmine has a combined age of 30. So we know that if I combine their ages, now what does combining ages mean? That means to add, right? So it's telling me if I add their 2 ages together, I don't know what they are, but if I add them together, it has to equal 30. So I want you to see that's what we're going to set up as our first equation here. So this is number 1, and we'll just use M for Mike. Let's keep it simple on ourselves. And J for Jasmine. So M plus J, we know that if I combine their 2 ages, it is going to equal 30, correct? All right, so we have the first sentence kind of laid out as an equation. Now let's look at the second one. It says, Mike is 3 years younger than twice Jasmine's age. And we'll read that one more time. Mike is 3 years younger than twice Jasmine's age. So if he's 3 years younger, is that less than or is that greater than? Well, that means he's going to be less, right? So we're going to take whatever Jasmine's age is and we're going to subtract 3 years from it. But it's not just Jasmine's age. It says twice Jasmine's age. So let's think about this, and then we're going to try to make an equation out of it. Mike is 3 years younger than twice Jasmine's age. So Mike, we know that's the variable M, is always indicative of an equal sign. So M equals, all right, 3 years younger than twice Jasmine's age. So let's look at that as an equation. Mike is, or equals, 3 years younger than twice Jasmine's age. So if Jasmine is represented by a J, then I'm going to take twice Jasmine's age, right? 2J, twice whatever her age is, and I'm going to subtract 3 from it because Mike is 3 years younger than twice her age. Hopefully that makes sense what we just did right there. We just took those words and just basically made an equation out of it. Now, if you notice, I already have this one solved for M. Now, I don't know what J is yet, but I can use substitution to help me with this. So watch what happens. I'm going to take this value for M. and I'm going to substitute it into this equation. So I'm going to end up with 2j minus 3, which is the same thing as m, plus j equals 30. Okay? So now I can go ahead and combine some like terms. I've got 2j here. I've got one more j here. So I've got 3j minus 3 equals 30. I can go ahead now and move my 3 to the other side. I'm going to go ahead and make me a line so I don't get confused. So now I have 3j equals 33. And now one last step, I'm going to divide by 3, which means that Jasmine is 11 years old. Okay, now I can take that information, the fact that Jasmine is 11 years old, and I can put that right back in, can put this right back into here, and now all of a sudden I can figure out what M is. So watch what happens. M equals 2 times Jasmine's age. Well, now we know what Jasmine's age is. Jasmine is 11 years old. So 2 times 11 minus 3. So we're on the home stretch. Look, 2 times 11 is 22. 22 minus 3 equals 19. So that means Mike is 19 years old. We can go back to our equation right here and choose 19 years old. Okay? Now let's look at one more example. Let's look at number 5, and this is under the section on elimination method. So you're going to have to solve all these and then hit continue, and it'll take you to that next section before you're able to submit. So for the elimination method number 5, it says the Hanson family bought 2 child and 2 adult movie tickets and paid $36.50. The Owens family bought 5 child and 2 adult tickets and paid $60.50. So it says, how much does a child movie ticket cost? So we're looking for the price for a child movie ticket. So let's take each sentence again and try to make this into an equation. It says the Hanson family bought 2 child and 2 adult movie tickets and paid $36.50. So these are 2 different types of tickets, right? So we've got to think 2 variables, okay? So we could use whatever variables you wanted to for a child and for an adult, but we know that we're going to add those 2 together, right? And it is going to equal this $36.50, which is the total that the Hanson family paid. So the Hanson family bought 2 child and 2 adult movie tickets and paid $36.50. Let's look at what that's going to look like. So we'll move down our page and we're going to call this number 5. And again, we're kind of talking about the Hanson family. So the Hanson family had 2 children, we'll say 2C, plus 2A, 2 adults, right? And that equaled $36.50. So 2 child tickets, 2 adult tickets. We don't know how much they cost individually, but we don't really need to know yet. All we're doing now is just trying to set up our equation. So now let's look at the other family that was involved here. I think it was the Owens family. So the Owens family bought 5 child tickets and 2 adult tickets and paid $60.50. So let's use that information. 5 child, 2 adult, $60.50. So we go back over. The Owens family had 5 children plus 2 adults, and they paid $60.50. Now, if you're a person like me and you like doing the elimination method, then you're going to see pretty quickly that right here, this is really set up nice for elimination, okay? I've got these that are the same coefficient. So I can use subtraction because that's going to eliminate the A for me. And I've got 2C minus 5C. Well, that equals negative 3C. 2A minus 2A is going to go away. And I'm going to have $36.50 minus $60.50. So that is going to leave me with negative $24. Okay, go ahead and put the 2 zeros. So now in order to finish this out, I'm going to divide by negative 3 on both sides. Now all of a sudden I have C equals negative divided by negative is a positive. 24 divided by 3 is 8. So I know that my child ticket is $8. And if you go back and look at your actual question, you will see it asks you how much does a child movie ticket cost. So right there would be my answer choice of $8. So hopefully this has helped you to be able to know how to kind of set these up. The other ones are very, very similar. Also, you can use the Desmos graphing tool. So in other words, once you come to these two equations, you can just put those right straight into your Desmos graphing calculator, and you can find those answers that way as well. So whatever method is easiest for you, that's fine. The bottom line is you're going to have to set up some equations yourself in order to be able to try to solve these things. So again, if you get stuck and you need any help, please reach out to either me or Miss Willer, and we'd be glad to help.